Hello and welcome back to part 4 of Romantic Dream by Julia Sperry. And I'm going to do the background today. And I wanted to show you a background that I haven't shown before. So this one is going to be a Prismacolor background blended with odorless mineral spirits. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of show you the technique and then probably do a I don't know if I'm going to do a super speedy video of me coloring it all in, or if I'm just going to cut to it being finished. Probably be faster if I just cut to it being finished, but you don't need to watch me coloring the entire thing in with this technique. I'll show you some sections and then we'll probably cut through. So I'm going to get started. I kind of already decided. I played around with some colors, so I kind of already decided on the colors that I'm gonna use, and that would be muted turquoise, jade green, white, and light umber. And if I add anything else, I'll be sure and let you know and add it into the description box at the bottom where I always put the colors that I use. So basically with this technique, the color that you choose for the first color you put down is going to be the dominant color. So in this one, the first color that I put down was this muted turquoise. So that's what we're going to do. And basically, I noticed my hand covered what I was doing a lot on the previous video. I want to try and avoid that for you. I don't think we need to zoom in here because I'm really not doing anything spectacular. Basically, I am just going to color in this whole thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to blend it with the mineral spirits. So don't feel like, I mean, this is easy. This is mindless coloring. The biggest thing that I would say though for this one is it's probably pretty important that you do the circles rather than coloring it in like this, because the mineral spirits don't blend it out completely. So if you make scratchy back and forth lines, those are probably going to show through after you color, blend it out with the mineral spirits. So basically, I am just going to be doing this on the whole entire page. Now this technique takes a little bit of pencil because I am going to be coloring the whole page, but it looks so pretty when it's done. So I like it. This might be a lot of background to be doing it on. Typically I would do it on something where there wasn't quite as much background, but I don't care. This is a good one to show you the technique. So, oh, and the other thing is, this works great on the papers that I do my coloring on. I've done it in Mysteria, so it works great in that book. But I would definitely, before you try any new technique, I would definitely use either do it on a test page if you're doing it in a coloring book. Pick the page that you like the least if they don't provide you with a test page. And if it's something that you're printing out, then definitely do a test on the same paper that you used to do your drawing before you before you do it on your masterpiece that you've completed. So this is it. This is what I'm going to be doing for the entire page. So I think what I'm going to do, because truly I just cannot see you guys needing to hang out with me for this entire project, I'm going to stop the video and come back again after the first layer is down on the paper. So I will see you in a little bit. Okay, I am back. So I have used the muted turquoise and I have covered the entire page except on this side where I left it very thin. I made it very thin because I want the second color that I'm going to apply next to be able to grab some of the paper so that it shows after we do all of our blending. And hopefully, fingers crossed, my thought that it will do that will be correct. So now I'm going to use jade green, and I think I'm going to start by adding it to the areas that I left pretty light. And with this one, I'm going to fill in, I'm going to go over the top of everything. And I kind of want to give it a good coating. I mean, really, this should only take 2 coats, one of each color. But you want to cover it pretty good, just because the more wax that's on the paper, the better your results when you start to add the mineral spirits. So again, that kind of little circles all over the page. And sometimes my circles kind of tend to be elliptical. And so I will try and occasionally to change the direction that I'm working. So hopefully this green is going to fill in where the areas are light. I'm using a somewhat firm pressure. I'm not doing, super light, because I really do want it to cover well in one go round, one coat. So again, I don't think this is anything that you need to watch me do, apart from what you've already seen. I turn my pencil pretty frequently as I'm doing this, so I don't have to sharpen it as often. I think when I did the muted turquoise, I sharpened it about 3 times. So it doesn't really eat up that much pencil. Okay, I'm going to keep on going with this, and you don't have to get super duper close to the edge, because when we use the mineral spirits and the little brush, it's gonna move that pigment right up close to our face. So I am going to once again turn the camera off and come back after the whole thing is covered with jade green. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I've added a layer of the jade green. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here so you can kind of get a pretty good idea of what the texture looks like. Most of the paper's filled in pretty well. This area here, this area here, that is where I left it kind of light, and that's the green. And actually, now that I'm looking at it a little bit more carefully, I'm going to add a little bit more right here. Looks like I didn't quite fill that in. But doing this whole thing, it only took me, adding the green, took me less than 10 minutes, I think. So probably was 10 minutes for the first coat, 10 minutes for the second coat. Okay, I'm gonna go out just a little bit. Alrighty, so mineral spirits, odorless mineral spirits. You can use something like Gamsol, or you can just buy at your local hardware store odorless mineral spirits. I've tried them both and they work exactly the same. And the odorless mineral spirits at the hardware store are a fraction of the price of like Gamsol or Zested or any one of those. So I have tried them both, and both of them work the same for me. So that's what I have to say about that. All right, I'm not sure how much talking I'm going to do here because I might want to concentrate on what I'm doing. I'm going to use two different brushes, a really kind of large one, and it's pretty beat up because I scumble with it all the time. So it's not, this is all I use it for. And then another brush, kind of a medium, so that I can get in right up tight against where the image is. So I'm just going to get to work, and if I think of something to say, I'll say it, but otherwise I'll probably be pretty quiet. So I dipped my brush into the mineral spirits, and I keep them in a jar. And they can go ahead and get dirty. You know, not ridiculously dirty, but you don't have to put fresh mineral spirits in every time you use them. And then I just dab a little bit off onto a paper towel. Now my hand might get in the way here. I'm hoping that it won't. And then I just start moving that. And look how it blends out. And then I will wipe off. Can you see the difference? This is really smooth, and you can still see the texture over here. So I'm going to turn my page so it's easier for me to work. I don't think I need the little brush yet, but if you're uncomfortable, by all means use a smaller brush. And then I'm wiping away from the picture, away from the image, because you don't want to spread that blue pigment all over your nice brown hair. Okay, so I pulled out my little brush. I'm going to use that in here. Basically just using the mineral spirits to spread that pigment. It breaks up the wax, is basically what it does. It breaks up the wax so that the pigment can move around easily. Okay, I'm gonna do right up close to the flowers. And then probably don't even need to add any more. There's still plenty on the brush, the big brush. You can see it. Now, the nice thing about mineral spirits is because they are not water-based, adding this liquid and maneuvering the pigment doesn't affect the paper at all. Like usually on this paper, if I were to do a water soluble media like Neocolors or anything, Inktense, regular watercolor, it would, to some degree, it would buckle the paper a little bit. I'm going to zoom out. But with odorless mineral spirits, it does not change the paper at all. It is still just as flat and smooth as it was when I first started. So that's the first step. I mean, look how easy that was. And it gave a beautiful, smooth, really nice background. But I'm going to add some more stuff to it. So I'm just wiping out and cleaning out my brushes. And make sure my lid is shut really well. Now you could leave it just like that if you wanted to. But of course, I cannot leave anything well enough alone. So I want to add some white and some light umber. I think I'll start with the white around the flowers and see how it goes from there. See what I like and what I want to do. So there's still a bit of mineral spirits, even though I wiped it off. There's still a bit of the mineral spirits on the paper. So you'll feel a difference when you go to add your pencils over the top of this. They just go on even a little bit smoother than before. I seem to have a thing for adding white over my backgrounds. But I really like the way it looks when you just add a little bit more texture. I don't know, it's not texture, it's color, but it's not color. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But, All right, it's subtle. You may not even be able to see it. So maybe I will do some of the light umber, so that one you should be able to see pretty well. And if you want, I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay, where do I want to put this? I'm going to start. Now I'm going to go very lightly. And again, I'm going in little little circles. Teeny tiny circles, so that, because you don't want to see the circles. You just want to see a smooth so it's completely, you know, up to you whether you want to add these additional layers of color, because it looked pretty, I think, just as it was. I think I want to bring some white in here. It needs, I need to break the color up a little bit. I'm using a pretty firm pressing, like a medium firmness. You don't ever want to press so hard that you break the tip of your pencil. And I feel like in adding the brown and the white on top of the blue, it's gonna look more like a painting than just a colored picture with a solid background. Now I've tried adding the brown and the white before I do the mineral spirits. Kind of tried adding it to the mix of pencil, and it doesn't come out the same. So this method works best for me. And the pencil goes on so smoothly after you spread paper with mineral spirits. It's really easy to get on there, get on the page. sorry, guys. I know I have a terrible habit of just coloring away in my own little world and not realizing that I'm out of frame. So thank you for bearing with me. Seriously. Oh man, I'm so sorry. You guys are probably watching going, seriously? Is she for real? Like, I just cannot seem to keep this in frame. I'm gonna have to come up with a better system, but I don't know what that is yet. It's like if I zoom out so that you can see more of the page, it's not close enough. And if I zoom in and I just color away, then half the time. Okay, I'm zooming out a little bit. There we go. I'm such a dork. Okay, I like to do the brown on the edges. I think that looks really nice. I don't know how well you can see what it looks like. It's maybe the light's just too bright. And it's a little bit greener than it's showing up on screen. But I don't know how to fix that either. So I'm gonna just keep going with it as it is, and then hopefully the picture that I put on at the end will be closer to the color that it actually is. Now I am in a well-lit daylight room. I have daylight bulbs in my overhead light. So I don't know. This particular one I seem to be having difficulty getting it to show the actual colors. I don't know why. So I'm going to turn it around. It's just so nice how smooth the pencil just glides over the paper without me having to hardly add any pressure at all. It's too bad I don't have a little buzzer or a little electric thing that zaps me every time I go out of frame on the camera. I'd learn real quick that way. get lost in my own little world and I forget to look up and check. Okay. I'm going to put some white in here. It does something cool when it mixes with the brown. I don't know what that is, but I like it. It lightens the brown, I guess, and you can see the white better. Oh, this is turning out just the way I had envisioned it in my head. Thank goodness. That definitely does not always happen, but because I've done the background before, I kind of knew what to expect. Okay, did I do brown down here? Do some brown down here. Just kind of more in the corners. Wish there was a way that you could see her. That doesn't work. I will take a picture of her in the proper, I don't know, in the proper light. She looks a lot bluer on screen than she actually does in real life. But pretty both ways. So that's it. That's how I do a Prismacolor and odorless mineral spirit background, and that's our page finished. I'm really happy with the way she turned out. So I hope you had fun. I did. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free, leave me a comment. Come over to my Facebook page. The link is in the description box below, and we can chat over on Facebook if you like, or Instagram, anywhere where you can find me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love to answer questions. So I guess that's it. Bye bye for now, and I will see you guys on the next video. Okay, take care.